Hey guys, how is it going? I've got here pen and some paper, got a rhino door that I've just painted McCrag blue, so you can probably guess what freehand we're going to be doing. And we will be doing the Ultramarines chapter icon, so this little symbol here. I'm going to show you the process that I'd use for taking this and freehanding it. Obviously, you can use a transfer, but if you want to push yourself, practice, and bring something special to a model, freehand is always a great way to do that. Now, the reason I've got the pen and paper is because I want to describe what I'm thinking when I go through this. So, I'll start off with first describing how I see this. With a lot of Warhammer, I find breaking things down into shapes, basic shapes, is how we can easily transfer them elsewhere. Like I've been talking in non-metallic videos, it's just a matter of seeing things as shapes. Now these are 2D shapes, and I can see 4 things that make this up. First of all, you've got a couple of these. Well, this is just going to be a super rough drawing. So you've got 2 rectangles, they're the tops. Then I can see 2 circles, so you've got your inner circle, which would connect here. Then you've got your larger outer circle. Now, don't take this as any indication of how good the freehand's going to be, because this at the moment is pretty laughable. But you can see how I think about it. So these are the 4 shapes that make up the entire icon. So this is how I'm going to approach freehanding it. Now I'm going to start with the circles. They're a little bit squashed circles, but we can deal with that. We can approach that however we want. So I'm going to start by drawing the inner circle, then the outer circle, and then I'm going to add the rectangles, and then we'll be left with the shape of our freehand, and then we can clean it up and whatnot. So let's get into that. So I've got our McCrag blue, so if we need any cleanup, that's the color I'll be using. I'm not doing this on a blended base or an airbrush base, because this is just a simple guide on freehands and chapter icons. In the future I'll be doing hopefully all of the chapter icons, just so everyone can choose and it's not just the Smurfs that get their way. Now, if I move my pad onto here. Now, the first colour, in fact, the main colour we'll be using is Celestra Grey. I find this to be a really nice base colour for white freehand, because the icon is white. First thing I'm going to do is thin it down. Really thin it down. And then I'm going to take my Artis Opus size 1, get some of the Celestra on the brush, and what I'm going to do is find the center point. So I know that if I draw an imaginary line from the middle here to the middle here, put a little dot there, that is roughly the center. Now I'm going to basically be sketching in the foundation for the freehand. So it's going to look messy, it's going to look like lots of lines and shapes, but because this is a flat color, McCrag Blue, I can come in and fix that later on and sharpen up the shape so we can easily work with it and build it up. So, as we have seen, we start with a circle. What I'm going to do, try and draw a line that's roughly of equal length, passing across the middle dot. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Try and keep it the same length lines. And they don't need to be perfect, but you can use this as almost a test of your accuracy. So there you go, we've got a nice cross in the middle. And what we want to do is circle that. So roughly, what I'll do to start with is I'll draw a couple of little end straight lines. This is a very methodical way of doing it. You can just go for it, not using these, but this is the technical way I'd approach these kind of things. And then just connect it up. There we go, we've got a rough circle. So that is going to be our center circle. And then what we want is the outer one. Now you can see the outer one is a lot thicker here. So it's not in the center directly of, the small one isn't in the center of the large one. So we need to figure out a way how to calculate that, or at least roughly calculate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another line out from the bottom. I'm just going to eyeball this one. So roughly that. That's the thickness of the very bottom. And then I'm just going to kind of approximate roughly the variation in thickness between the bottom and the sides. So let's go for just a little over half. So this line, half that line, and stick that out on the sides. So what's that? Let's go for a little over half. There's that. And then we can basically figure out if we follow this line, it is very, very, very thin at the top. So I'll half this line again. And there we go. Right, now we need to connect these. So rather than think of the center point here, what I'm going to do is imagine I'm going to bring these lines down. If I find the center point roughly for these two interconnecting lines here and here, then I'll move this line over here. Then you can see I've got a new circle. This time I don't have to sort of figure out how I want to. Once again, I'm just going to roughly draw in this circle now that we know our connecting lines. trying to make it as even as possible. Just give ourselves an easy job here. And there we go. So you can start to see the result of this planning that we've been doing. And next up is to add the rectangles. So if I look at the placement of the rectangles, we don't need an exact distance between, but what we do know is that the edge comes out to the edge of the circle. So what I'm going to do is sort of use the line of my brush, just make a mark at the edges, just to know that's the furthest we want to go. And we can see that the bottom of the rectangle would intersect with the upper edge of the inner circle just a bit higher. So it's not, let me see if I can find a straight line to show you, because sometimes it can be a bit hard to really explain these things. Let's see, let's go for this. Right. If I hold a piece of paper there to the very bottom, very top edge of the inner circle, you can see we've got a little bit of space. And that's what we want to remember to add. If I line it up directly with the bottom of the rectangles there, you can see tiny little distance. So we want to remember that when we come to painting that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a nice big rectangle from one side to the other, just a bit higher. Trying to make it as straight a line as possible. Out to the edge that we've decided. Goes as far as. Nice and straight. As for how tall the rectangles are, they're not especially tall. If you look at them, they're a little bit thinner than this distance here. So just as long as it's approximately thinner than that, and you can sort of tell. There you go. Right, now we need to get this gap. So I'm gonna just say roughly here and here. Does that look symmetrical? Symmetrical is the thing we're going for here. There you go. Look at that. It's almost perfect. So the next step is to clear up some of these construction lines with some macragge blue. And there we go. Look at that. That's looking real good now. So that was just macragge blue, as I've been saying. Now I've added here on the palette some celeste grey. I haven't watered this down nearly as much. This is only watered down enough to give a smooth base coat. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to very neatly basically just fill in, paint between the lines here. Just really neat as you can. Now, it's not the end of the world if you mess up. This is flat tone. So if we do make a mistake, let's just come in with some macragge blue, fix it up, and then be on your way. we want to push it right to the edges. We want to get a nice crisp, clean edge to work with. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty good. If we take I think it's a little bit less squashed, but honestly, it's pretty damn nice for a freehand. And it was really, really simple to do. But now that we've done that, we can add a little bit of flair to it to really make it pop as a freehand. So, to make things a bit more interesting, I've got Celestra grey and white, and then just pure white. What I'm using is watercolors white. You can use any white you want really. I just like the opacity of this one, so I'm just going to mix the Celestra and the white. You can see immediately just how opaque the white is by how overpowered it got by the Celestra grey. So I'm going to take some of that to the side here. I'm going to take some more white. I'm going to mix that in, and that looks like a good midpoint for me. So then I'm going to take some water and thin that down. Then what I'm going to do is start adding some fancy looking highlights. Now, there's some basic just places to put these that look really nice. I'm not doing it affected by any global light, so just show you some. If I just paint it like this, it'll be easier to see. So I don't know if you can see there where I've painted, but these are the kind of areas that you want to highlight. It's this center here, as it were. So if I fill that in, if I go and blend in these, you'll get a better idea of where to place it. So you can see here the areas I mean. Now what I'm going to do is blend those in and see how it looks after. And there you go, you can see the nice blend coming on. We've got a little bit of a shine. Next up, I'm going to outline the thing, the entire shape. Very, very carefully outline it using the light mix that we've just made and blend it in. So I'll show you what I mean. Don't know how easy it is to see. It's quite subtle, but as I've said before, subtle just means we have more control over it. There you go. Maybe if I actually put my light in the right place, there you go. You can start to see it. So I'm going to finish that off, and then we'll add a little bit more shine with some pure white. So there you go. It's starting to look really cool. Now on the palette I've got my white. This is the pure white, no water, and then I've mixed in a little bit of water here, just so I can start blending the white into the shiniest areas. So this is going to really make it pop. And hopefully it will be enough to really finish this piece off. And there you go, I've added the white, blended it in, and what I've done is I've also pulled up the lines here somewhat. You can see it's a really nice freehand, nice and neat and clean. I think that would look great on any kind of vehicle. So yeah, hopefully you understood my processes and was clear enough. And go give it a try and show us what you think, show us how you do. Cheers.